Oh. We're live. Sorry.
As an excellent entrance. That was
Happy 420, everybody.
we can always we can always end the show here and launch again in a moment.
Okay. We had a little technical difficulties, but I think we're okay now.
Yeah.
Let me fix one thing here. Something's not right. All right, whatever. Here we go. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Ben. How the heck are you?
Oh, I'm okay.
You seem okay. It's a lovely morning.
Yes.
Usually you tell us the date. And,
happy 420 day to you. It is April 20th,
yay.
2024. How are you celebrating today, Steve?
I'm doing lots of work. That's what I do.
Yeah, me too. I woke up and did a ton of research for the 4D20 system.
That's excellent.
And I'm ready to talk about it. But first, let's talk about Pirate Tales.
Yes.
My new novella dropped on Amazon on Monday, the 15th. And I got to be honest with you, Steve, after that went out and was out in the wild now, I may be suffering from postpartum depression.
That's do you usually feel that way when you produce a book, a product or something?
When I launch something, not as hard as I've done as this book is doing to me, because I put a lot into this book. And I'm sure if it's sold, if I passed J.K. Rowling on the young adult fantasy bestseller list, I wouldn't be having it. And I know I wasn't going to do that or anything. But there's just a lot of work, promoting it. You promote so much, and most of the time it feels like you're just screaming into the void. Which is how a lot of creators feel about their stuff, especially with the use of social media. And now the book's out there, and I maybe I'll buy some ads a little bit in a week or two or so. But
what do you think when you mentioned about the social media? I've seen a lot lately we've got a lot of friends in the comic side of things outside the gaming side, and there's been a lot of chat lately about that feeling of tilting at windmills.
Yeah, it's exactly what it feels like at this point. I can only tell that either, let's just talk about my followers, on all my social media, on Facebook, on Twitter or X, on Blue Sky, even on Instagram, on, Threads, whatever. Right. I'll post, hey, here's my Pirate Tales, here's my book, and it may get a couple likes, but not even close to the people who my so-called, I don't mean to say it mean as, but as far as my followers go, I'll have 1,500 followers and maybe 2 likes, if at all. And no retweets. Nobody shares other people's content anymore, I feel like. And I can only post either, and like Facebook's a good example. If I'm posting, here's my book, here, I hate to bug you again, but my book's coming out. Here's my book, But the lack of response or involvement from my followers leads me to expect A, they don't care. B, they're not seeing them. C, I guess it's they don't care or they're not seeing them. And
yeah, I think I think that's what people feel. I think it's like they think that our community is a community often of creators. So we're all creating stuff all the time. So it's just constant stuff. And then there's all those other pockets of other creators and all cliques and groups and demographics, and they're all promoting their stuff. And everyone is using social media as a, basically buy my stuff. I was tagged in a post from a friend the other day. They tagged maybe 30 creators in a post and said, hey, I've got my Kickstarter. It's not going great. They didn't say that part, but the Kickstarter is not going great. And I don't know. It's bordering. Some of these pitches sometimes feel like they're bordering on, not yours, but some of this one in particular, because I was tagged in it. There was no way to not see it, and to me, that's not tactful. But clearly, this person must have been shouting into the void without any response, and so they're desperate now. The Kickstarter's it's past the honeymoon phase. It's in the doldrums, and it looks like the finish line is too far away to get. If I were that creator right now, I'd end the campaign with a note to those people and say, we're going to restart in a couple of weeks. Clearly there was something wrong with my pre-setup, because if you don't have that good momentum going into it, you're not going to have it. It's not going to, what, Neil Gaiman, are you counting on Neil Gaiman retweeting you?
Right.
I don't know. But definitely the algorithm. I would blame the algorithm. You had A and B. I'd reverse the order first off and say, people like you. They like your projects. They don't necessarily like all our projects. The fans of the middle age don't know why I'm doing this gaming stuff. And the gaming people are not necessarily interested in the middle age. So I'm certain that hurts me when I post stuff. My thing has been to post less frequently. So I'm hoping that the algorithms and the robots go, if I post every few days and I make it a combination of personal stuff and like a cat picture, and I'm not doing cat pictures to break the algorithm. I'm doing cat pictures because I want to say that I'm not all work. I'm kind of like, plus it's like, picture my cat. Like, I think everyone should be seeing my cat because my cat's awesome. And the cat might be the best thing I share all year, and it'll get more likes. So that's not a value judgment on my work. That's just cats are universal, and my dumb RPG stuff is not. But it can be disheartening, because if the metrics are, I'm comparing yourself to J.K. Rowling, or
not the transphobia part.
No, God, no. No. She's in a class by herself. But the idea of I bet. Are you looking at your ranking in the Amazon sales list?
Of course I am. Yeah.
That way lies madness.
Yeah.
Because it's not just you. It's a million other creators right now, and everybody who's creative right now is almost. So many of them have been let go. All the animation studios, those people are staring at each other. What do we do now? All the people who worked at Wizards just let more people go. Marvel's let more people go. All these people, maybe Wizards hasn't. Maybe I'm conflating Marvel.
It was a couple months ago.
But still, those people are like, they're going to create stuff. I mean, when Mike Merle starts a Patreon, like, what chance do the rest of us have?
No, it's like, I posted something, when I looked at my ranking of overall books, and I looked at who the number one was, and that author's on Instagram. So, I just did a fun tag, watch out, so-and-so. I'm only, 74,962, rankings until I topple you. It's a joke. Right. Sure, I was hoping maybe she'd see it. Good luck, But like one of my friends saw that post who has a much more established, greater following than I do. He's respected in his creative endeavors that he does. And he replied, I bought it. Thank you for buying it. But why not make a post about, hey, I bought this book by my friend Dan Taylor. You should go check it out. And I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying I demand this from him or I expect this from him, but I think that's how creators can help each other more by, endorsing, and not just blind, oh, here, check this out, or retweet, but when I get Nibblemancy and I thoroughly enjoy it, which I will go, hey, my buddy and co-host on Mazes and Muses did this product. You should get it. Here's the link. And I think that's how, as creators, we might be able to help each other in this void of social media, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The counterpoint to that is your sharing it is going to be as unseen as everything else.
Probably.
Partly, I feel like as creators, Amazon doesn't let colleagues or friends, or says colleagues and friends shouldn't review each other. Basically, family, friends, like stuff like that. So I have a sister-in-law who wrote a book, and I'm like, I'm not going to review it. It's just not, I'm happy to help design it. I'm happy to help do whatever I can creatively from put her in touch with, send some links to some podcasts I would listen to when I was doing, more prose stuff. But it's not like,
but that's good.
But it's a personal thing. It's behind the scenes. It's not a, and also I feel like sometimes people are like, well, Steve, pick a lane, do comics or do the gaming stuff. Why do you want to do all these different things? And is my lack of focus impeding my ability to make headway in any particular field?
Well, if that is the reason, then I will never make it anywhere.
I don't know. I mean, I look at folks like Jeff Smith, who have a huge success with Bone, and then did Tukey and did Razzle and things like that, which didn't quite have the, not the scholastic graphics, monument that Bone has become. And I don't know if it's a thing where Gene Roddenberry had Star Trek, and he had Andromeda and Earth 2. Is that one of his?
I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. All those other ones he had. What was the robot one? The android one? The something papers or something like that. It was he did all these other things, and it was Star Trek. And I don't know if that's a thing where maybe if the Middle Age is my thing, and the TTRPG is an adorable little thing that's just happens to be hot right now because D&D is hot, and but I don't know, or the Middle Age has been like me tilting at windmills. Like Astounding Space Thrills might have been that. For all I know, Astounding Space Thrills is a thing that more people liked, and I should be doing that instead of all the fantasy stuff I'm doing now. But I don't know, man.
But would that make you as a creator happy?
Yeah, and that's what we're balancing. So it's like, to me, that's the, I don't know. There's got to, like you said, like this isn't your income.
Mm-hmm.
This is these various projects, these various genres and various medium are not your, you are happy to, I'm going to do pins one week. I'm going to do prose the next week. I'm going to do gaming stuff the next week. I'm going to start a band. I don't know. You were you talked about fledgling comedy, like maybe doing comedy at one point, or did you say in the past you had dabbled?
It was on the radar, but yeah.
Yeah, it's stuff like that where if you got on stage one night and had that feedback that you wanted, could have derailed everything now. You might be chasing that forever. So I honestly don't know. And are there some of these things that need a slow boil? That book group that's 20 to 50K, we're 20 books to 50K. The idea, if you have 20 books, you'll make 50K a year. So get 20 books done and make them a series.
All right. Well, we got to cut it short today. I got 19 more books to write.
That is their theory. And they treat them like pulps. They bang out a novel every month, every other month. And if it's a series, book 2 comes out, you make book 1 free through Amazon and other things like that. No, they have 1 million people have followed that path, and they're all changing course depending on what's the exciting genre of the month.
But are they doing it to make the money? Are they doing it for the recognition? Are they doing it? I want to create what I want to create. I don't want to create necessarily what the algorithms want to consume.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that the idea that if you're pursuing fame, pursuing notoriety in America, in capitalism, often means making cash. If you make money doing a thing, therefore it's successful.
And
trust by that metric, right?
Yeah, and I want to make cash. I mean, I'm not. Yeah.
The idea that if the goal was to get a book done, you've done it. which puts you ahead of 99% of the people who started books. So victory lap, enjoy 420. And but if there's another thing, if it is that wanting to be D&D famous, or wanting to be, I don't know, kid lit famous, or anthropomorphic seafaring adventure famous.
I think I got the market cornered there.
Well, but the idea that if that's what you want, then that fame is absolutely tied to. Is there an example of someone who's meme folk?
Yes,
they're famous without money, but people like that. That's, you're moving into kind of, the boardwalk freak show part of fame, and not the put on a pedestal kind of fame, which I think is the kind you're more likely to be talking about.
Of course, I deserve to be on a pedestal, Steve, not a boardwalk freak
Deserve
show.
is not a word I would ever throw around. If we ever got what we deserved, I don't think we'd be entirely happy.
We would not. No, but hopefully, if you're watching this, I got a book on Amazon.com called Pirate Tales. It's kind of young adult fantasy sci-fi, but it's got rats that are pirates, and it's a fun treasure island adventure cross between Secret of Nim and Pirates of the Caribbean, if that makes sense. You go to piratetales.com. It's pirate without the E, because it's a rat tail. See that? Anyway, go to Amazon, find it, read it, love it, leave a great review. I still don't have any reviews left. I am thankful for my wife's book club, because all the gals in the book club bought a copy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They may be the only ones that did, other than a few friends on Facebook. And
so the reviews, I know they said, according to folks like, if you ever listen to Creative Writing, was a podcast, or there's a bunch of literary podcasts, and a lot of them are talking, a lot of them walk that line. They're successful the way a lot of real estate podcasts are successful. They tell you, here's how to be successful in real estate, but be sure to buy my book. Like, they're not making all their money from the real estate. They're making a lot from selling the books.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these guys have classes online and courses that you can sign up for, and all Patreons and all this stuff. But one of the things they were saying was, like, it takes like 100 sales and you maybe will get one review, maybe. And that is the average. So I don't know how many copies of The Middle Age I've sold. I have begged people who have bought my stuff off my website and supported the Kickstarters to review The Middle Age. They come in when they come in. I go a year and no one's done it. I made a post how if anybody buys my book the first week, and I'm going to extend it now to the first month or whatever, or until supplies run out, I will personally send a postcard, and I will sign it, thanks for buying my book. Absolutely.
And I will put the stamp on it and mail it out until supplies last. So I said a week originally, but I mean, it's just, I just want people to see it and like it.
I have some friends who do the convention circuit here in Florida, and they are weekend warriors. Every weekend they're at a convention, and they write sci-fi novels and things like that, for fantasy novels or ghost fiction. Every weekend they're at a convention selling books. And whenever someone buys a book, they take a photograph with them with the book, and they put it on social media, and they hope the person will spread the word. And it is an uphill battle to build a brand, especially in a brand new medium. And here you are, you've got success in comics, you've got success in the RPG space, and now you're moving into prose. And it's like, okay, start all over. It's like,
and I know, all the RPG conventions that I'll be doing in the future with a booth or a table or anything like that, I will have a stack of these books for sale. So hopefully, if worst comes to worst, hopefully, yes, thank you, Werewolf. Go get the book. I love you, and I will send you a postcard if you do. And just, you gotta let me know your address. Anyway, see, it's fun to be on comments, people. You should come in live and watch rather than later, but we appreciate you people watch on video on demand anyway. Kind of a different mood today, aren't I, Steve?
Yeah, for some reason.
Where was I going with this?
Dan, over here. We're here.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I will have a stack of Pirate Tales novellas on my table or booth, and hopefully I'll sell enough each time to pay for gas to get there. And of course, already I'm planning on how I'm going to turn this into a role-playing game to justify writing the novel.
The world is built. You have some art. You've got a good name. You got a URL. All these things you'll sell more books if there's a RPG, and then when you do the crowdfunding for the RPG, one of the up tiers includes the book.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stuff that again helps to have a solid brand. Like when I was set up now at the show, I was at that SC Comic Con a couple weeks back. Half my table was the comics and half my table was the role-playing games. Then there was a little rack over in the corner where I had my Star Trek comics. I had my Sonic Space Thrills comics. I had Aquaman. I had some of the other stuff that I had done. It was there, maybe eye-catching. Maybe one of those books sold. Was it worth taking up table space? It's one of these things where when people are at a convention and they're zipping past, there's a little less zippiness at Gamehole. People tend to, mosey, which is nice.
A lot of chatters
and tire kickers, but people will pass your table multiple times, and so you have a couple of bites of that apple. But the idea is that when they get a glance, they have to on a instant know what you're doing and selling. What is this person doing? Is it games? What are they selling? Books? Socks? Is it podcasts? What is this place?
Socks! Oh, that's what I got to be working on.
Did you see on my Discord the new dumb merchandise for Nibblemancy?
No, not yet.
I will be right back. Vamp, Dan, vamp. Sell a book.
Wait, did he say vape? No, he said vamp. So anyway, while Steve is gone, let's talk about him. No. Again, Pirate Tales is out, and I appreciate anybody who go check it out on Amazon.com. Again, go to piratetales.com, and it'll take you right there, but you can find it if you do a search on Amazon. And we're here starts to, of course. Is that a stretch goal?
No, that'll be merchandise available right out of the gate. So ridiculous.
I love it.
Absolutely ridiculous. And it was made, and I had a demo made before we even started just to see how dumb is this idea. And it is dumb, so I like it.
Oh, it's very dumb, but I love it. A lot of my ideas are dumb,
but in a good way. Speaking of 420, Dan, is that a segue? Is that a good segue to?
That is a good segue. Let's talk about 420, our 4D20 system. So I've been working on this game called High Fantasy, utilizing a brand new engine called the 4D20 system. And yes, it all relies heavily on the cannabis, marijuana, 420 culture thing.
I had not put that together. I had not. Oh.
See? 4D.
Rat tails. Wait a minute.
Yeah, see, I'm too clever for my own good. But anyway, it was set to, I originally had the backer kit set to launch today. But I felt, and I talked to Steve about this last week, that, it deserves more before I launch it. I've got so many other projects. Like, I did this pin thing to kick the backer kit tires, for the 4D20 system launch. I did, I released a book. I've been setting up comedy shows for the Catacombs and Comedians. So I've been very, very busy. So I felt that the High Fantasy 4D20 crowdfunding campaign suffered from that. So I've went on this morning and I have redone the landing page for the backer kit. And if you go to 4d20system.com, it should take you right there.
Sweet.
And I've got some brand new art, and
if we already signed up to be notified when it goes live, is that still the same list?
Yes, it's still the same list. I just changed, pictures and text and that sort of stuff. 4D20 system. Boom. So it's got brand new art that I just got this morning and last night. And let me show it off real quick. Let me find the screen, share screen. And we want to share that window, share, bring it up. So there you go. Steve Musgrave did a full new cover for me.
Excellent.
And here it is in its glory. So that should be the main, and I've got room for trade dress up here and such. So yeah, that's my brand new cover. Thank you, Steve, so much for getting that to me this morning. Staying up late last night to finish that. I've still got how the game works here on there. I took out the offensively misspelled other graphic that I had talking about playable species and classes, and just kind of made a simple text list. But I added the image of the Gnome Scoundrel by artist E.J. Sue.
Excellent.
Just to show you. So E.J. Sue is going to do, D&D has its archetype characters to explain its, races and classes.
Sure.
So will this. So he's going to do all 4 of them for me. And hopefully I can talk him into, if I do a stretch goal, he'll provide more art for the overall project. And I showed some of this to Steve last week, but Matthew Sargent, who does a ton of RPG art, and he's does great work. Here he has a couple of his monsters. We got the Hot Box, which is the gelatinous cube equivalent, and this is the Nug, which is sort of a goblin-esque nuisance. So those are from him. And again, I will get Matthew to do more art for more monsters down the road. Great. But I wanted to show off, look, I'm not fucking around with this little game, yes. And that's kind of what the appearance I think that the old landing page had. So this is showing off, look, I'm going all out by getting top artists to do some art for me. I want to take the time to develop, but I'm not delaying the release of the game. I had planned originally to release it on 4/20/25, and that's still going to happen because a lot of work is still already into the game and into putting this together. So it's not going to delay the game. So what it means is basically by starting the crowdfunding campaign later, it just means whoever backs it will have the final product in their hands sooner after.
Right, a shorter distance from campaign to delivery and more art done. I think this is you're doing everything right when it comes to this. I think this is great.
And then, but wait, there's more, as it says here. I wanted to do some pre-campaign stretch goals. So by the time the campaign starts, and I'm not having an official date yet, but it's probably early October. If the 4D20 system Facebook and the Zero Level Media Facebook page get 420 followers, then you get everybody will get a 4D20 sticker if you're getting the physical rewards. At the Zero Level, X or Twitter account reaches 420 followers before that, everybody gets a high roller sticker. And then if the High Fantasy role-playing game teaser page, this page that, that this is, if the project itself has 420 followers before its launch, everybody will get the Green Wizard sticker. So that's 3 stickers out the door.
It's great.
Before the game even launches. But my hope is, yes, that number is funny and it works for my whole campaign type thing or whatever. But those are good chunks of numbers if I have those followers to help spread the news, hopefully.
Dude, if you get 420 people watching your campaign before it goes live, your campaign is going to have a great launch. It's impossible for it not to. On average, I've seen, like from the campaigns I've looked from my own campaigns and the number I've seen from other people, mine's right in line with it. About 35% of the people who are following campaign will back a campaign. So you get 300 followers, you're going to have 100 backers from that list. You'll get a lot more people from outside that list, but the number of people who are following the campaign, at least as Kickstarter goes, I don't know if backer kits numbers are different, but percentages are different. But yeah, so 420 means 140 probable backers from that list, which is huge.
Yeah, out of the gate. And so I would love that. So there's the plan. And the reason I pushed it back, other than giving it more time, is go have your fun stream. Thanks for checking in. And the reason I want to push it back is what, besides giving it more time and more, that it deserves, is also, the con season. I'm going to be at 3 gaming conventions
right
through late October. So that's just more promotion. And I've got ways that I'm going to promote it heavily at those shows any way I can. And so, yeah, so that's the plan with 4D20. I'm still,
May I recommend something to you, my friend?
No, I've got everything set in my mind. No.
Okay, cool. Moving on.
Okay. Yes. What is it, Steve?
What were we talking about? Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. It's for celebrating 420. Have a mailing list at your booth at those events. And when people sign up for it, give them a sticker and tease them with a sticker to sign up for your list.
Yes. Now, at this point, I only have 1 booth at those 3 shows, but I will have hopefully a show at another one. So, I will have that list, there.
Yeah.
And it's just that one, I'm just going with my kid, and I'll just be wandering around handing out 4D20, promotional material.
That's lovely.
Yeah. I'll have my kid hand it out even. How about that?
That is corruption of minors. And,
yeah.
No,
here, want to play a high game with my dad?
Dressed as one of the NPCs from your game.
Yeah.
That's adorable. I love that. Well, I think you're doing everything right. Having the artwork's a big deal. Having that quality artwork is a big deal. So many campaigns don't have much to show. And
because they're waiting on the funds to pay the artist, and and it's understandable to a point. But sometimes I had to invest ahead of time and just get.
That's what it is. Yeah. And I was writing about this because my next campaign, Nibblemancy, which is going to launch this week, is and might be the last of the Zine Quest 2024. There's a section about AI, and I had to write something, and I've written probably too many words in that section about it. And one of the things was we used to be able to tell when we were going to buy a piece of art, but buy an RPG book, we could judge it a bit by its cover. What it told us was this product cares enough. The publisher has enough skin in the game because they had to go and hire this artist to do this work. The fact that you got that great artwork tells everybody who's looking at it that you care. And that the interior, that the rules will have just as much care. Presumably, it implies that as much care was taken into picking the artists and selecting those images and coming up with those ideas, that as much care will be taken with the rules themselves and the game itself. And that the idea that AI kind of blows that up because now I don't have to care. I can just have a machine spit something out. And it kind of takes away from that. But the idea that you've done that and you've done it right and it looks great, that cover is solid. And those spot illustrations are wonderful. Are you going to be publishing in black and white?
Yeah, just for printing for printing reasons. Why? I mean,
you are doing everything right.
I can't afford to do.
You could if the Kickstarter raised $1 billion, but you shouldn't ask it to do that. Shadow Dark didn't.
Right.
Shadow Dark said black and white's fine.
I wanted to. And to be honest with you, I love black and white.
D&D. That's the game we grew up with.
Yeah, and because all these other books. A lot of these products that people put out for, like, let's just use 5e for an example. They all have beautiful art. I'm not denying them that, but they all look the same.
Yep.
They all look like the Wizards of the Coast put them out. And I like the look of those Wizards of the Coast books, but I'm not going to do a product that uses the same sort of parchment background with the same sort of, layout and the same sort of stat blocks and stuff like that. I want to make it my own. I want to put my own stamp on it.
If the camera pulled back from in your office right now, that would be the entirety of the production design department of your book, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of comparing yourself to Hasbro and trying to do what they're doing is kind of a fool's errand. So yeah, do your own thing.
But a lot of these independent, RPG creators do that.
Yeah, I'm not. There's no joke. I mean, I'm absolutely part of my shtick by doing a 5e product means that I have to. This has to plug in to those other things.
Yes.
So I feel like that's a conscious choice. If I had done stuff like this and missed the mark, or under delivered in some way, I think people would think differently. But because I know that a player has to take this, or the hardcovers that just arrived, they have to take this and convince their dungeon master, please let me play this subclass. I knew that this had to be,
No, and I'm not knocking your stuff, or I'm not knocking all the other people that do it.
But it has to have its own flavor. I like to think my stuff does. I like to think
the style of your artwork has its own flavor.
Yeah, I don't think Wizards would hire me from what I'm doing with what I'm doing, because my stuff is quirky, and I feel like that's the character of that. It's not just, I'm not trying to be them, because I can't. They're gods, and I'm just some.
But I would say your stuff's not a direct simulation of the other books. I mean, it's a style that's on par and looks as good, if not better, than that tier. But it's not. It's still its own.
Yeah, it's got to be. I do think I appreciate that. I do think I have to have my own flavor, my own brand. Otherwise, why do it? Because plus my stuff's hopefully funny and fun, and it's not the serious RPG stuff. It's not Curse of Strahd. It's not, all this heavy stuff that they're making, Vecna and all that. Mine's goofy.
And my whole creating process, I knew at the beginning with Superhero Happy Hour, that comic book way back in the day that I did, that I was not going to achieve the quality of top shelf books, and not the publisher, but just in general. And so my company is named Geek Punk, to take that sort of punk rock approach to it. That sort of, I don't want to use grunge, but I like that DIY look that a lot of zines have. And that's my kind of, I want it to be professionally done and look nice, but it's still got to have that rawness to it.
Yeah. And
that's a style choice on mine. And also, if somebody finds a misspelled word, I go, well, that's part of the rawness of it, just roll with it.
Yeah. I think Morkborg has done that successfully. I think a ton of people have decided, they're doing stuff that's so polished that it feels corporate. And I think everyone's had enough corporate. It's to me, it's, it's why Starbucks sends Friskets and stencils and chalk pens to everybody, so that they can handwrite in their guide the chalkboards at their store. So it's not so corporate.
Yeah.
It's like simulated authenticity. And I think, but then there's authenticity. I think what you're doing is authentic, and I think that's the most important thing. There's nothing fake about it. It's a lot of this stuff that's wannabe stuff, and I think that's it's fine, because you got to start somewhere, but it can only ever live in the shadow of the thing it wants to be.
Okay, I'm not knocking this product, and I don't even know the title offhand, but there was a recent successful crowdfunding book with a 350-page tome on fishing for 5e.
Really?
Yes. And it looked just like one of those, it looked like its own role-playing game book. It had.
That's awesome. And weird.
It had this sort of, ooh, look at that. I got a dark sun. But it looked, it's a book this size, and it's just about fishing with classes and fishing spells and maybe fishing monsters and fishing, I don't know, everything fishing, magical items, and how to fish and all this sort of stuff. And it, I love the idea. Run with it, go with it, and do all this big stuff for it. But it looks like a book like this, and it's $60 book. Fantastic, you went for it.
Did the campaign do well?
Yeah, it did. I think so.
That's great.
But I just can't see myself doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I got to know my I know my limitations as a creator as far as creating a physical product. I'm not an expert on layout. I'm not an artist by any means, but I've managed to get my own artwork and tweak. I'm not a professional graphic artist, but I do all my own graphics. So there will always be a amateurish type level to my work, but rather than worry about it, I'm embracing that. That is my brand.
I think that's honest, and that helps. I think doing the best you can with what you have is, and not faking it, is a good thing. And if it works, and I think what you're doing is work, if you find your voice, and I think you have.
Honestly, the graphics I worked on and made for this page that I just revamped, I have an old software on my computer that now just crashes every 5 minutes because it's so outdated, but I can't learn anything else right now. That's so I just have to save my work I have to remember to save my work every 3 minutes, my progress, and it crashed, and I just bring it back up, and I put, oh, there it goes again. Oh, I admit, I didn't say I did too many changes before saving. So that's how I'm putting this book together, and it's how I put Pirate Tales together. This is a Word document.
The cartoonist Rick Veitch, he lays out his Kindle books in Mac Pages, the word processor of the Apple. One image. That's his whole book. Uploads the file and he sells them on Amazon.
Yeah,
it's like whatever works. Absolutely whatever works.
And so I've got to, other than my skill, my tools is a limitation as well. And I find an interesting way to make a cool looking image using tables in Word.
Nice.
I have to, I'm going to make it work, and I will spend maybe way too much time, but God damn it, I'm going to make it work my way.
That's great.
So
that's great.
I promised a lot of people on the Facebook tabletop RPG creator group you were part of that we were going live, and we were going to talk about all sorts of creative stuff with tabletop role-playing games.
Again,
we did.
I never see this stuff. You're on the social media so much more than I am. Did you link them to Twitch or did you link them to YouTube?
Twitch and YouTube.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
I just put it up 10 minutes before our show started. So
I'm sure Facebook's like, we're not going to show them that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's where 420 is now, and I will be celebrating more today and tonight. I think I'm not working on 420 anymore today. I will do research.
You should.
But really. I'm not going to actually physically.
And remember to write those expenses off on your taxes. As
So all this, here's all these receipts from the
various edibles.
There you go.
Amazing. That's amazing.
So yeah, and I'm grateful my kid's softball game was canceled today, so I didn't have to deal with that. Let's see. So we talked about my postpartum depression of Pirate Tales. We talked about High Fantasy 4D20. Let's talk about your Nibblemancy coming out this week.
Well, the good news is, Nibblemancy was a project I was going to do for Zine Quest. It is the fourth book in my series of 5e supplements that started with Intoximancy, any nominated Intoximancy, and then Death Dealing, and then the Prayer's Handbook, the Metadomain Cleric. Those three books, they look great on the shelf next to each other. I put the hardcovers next to each other. I could see the spines line up. I could see the logos line up.
Not like Dune.
It just feels good to see them like they. And so the fourth book was Nibblemancy, and it was going to be part of Zine Quest, but the Prayer's Handbook ended up taking me so long that I postponed the other project because I don't want them to overlap too much. I don't mind if a couple of things, like I'll be shipping this out throughout the campaign of Nibblemancy, which I hopefully will create a rolling effect in some ways. People are like, they'll like that, and hopefully I'll go support the next thing, or at least take a look at the next thing he's doing. But I'm really happy to have done it. I ended up putting all this artwork in along the edges of the book. It's the most text-heavy book I've done. It is packed with stuff. It still has room for dumb things like duck stat blocks and uh, the grognard and the hydrohedron and all the different creatures. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. And the hardcover, when I cracked open the box, I'm like, it just felt so great to see this one. And it might be the nicest cover I've done yet. I'm super excited for Nibblemancy. If people check out the page, they won't see it yet. I have this currently on the placeholder page. I've got this, what started as a 3D sculpt of a cupcake with wings, and the wings are kind of pointy. And it has been bugging me. So this week I repainted the wings and they look better. Oh, they look, and I put some bend into the cup. I don't know why I'm emulating. Picture me as a cupcake. You might
always do. I always do.
I thought you might. But imagine, so the cupcake is kind of leaning forward a little bit. It's got a bend. Anyway, it's dumb stuff like that. This is why my projects take so long. But it was interesting. This ties into a YouTube comment that Hank Green had made. I don't know if you know if Hank Green of the Vlog Brothers. They were talking about looking at the success of projects like Dropout, which was College Humor. They have a subscription-based streaming service that's just their own stuff, and they maybe produce 4 new episodes a week of things. And then they alternate it. Like one weekend is their game show, and the next weekend is the making of that episode of the game show, and the next. So it's like they're using every part of the production. But it's a subscription service made by a small group of people, and it seems to be successful. And Hank Green was talking about that as a positive path forward for some of these media companies, especially maybe a bunch of scrappy animators who are no longer have a home because animation is in disarray. But versus creators that beyond like a 1 or 2 person shop, maybe this is the kind of path you have to take. So there's still a room for the 1 or 2 person shop. And I found that to be kind of like, that's where we're at. You've got your production facility and the artists you work with, and you're going to be producing your content. Here I am doing my thing all by myself. And thank goodness, because if we had a team of 10, I don't know what we'd be doing in a situation like this. If we had employees we were worried about, how could we stay afloat in this crazy time? So I don't know, that felt like a bit of a balm, a bit of solace in this craziness. But I'm super excited for Nibblemancy. It's going to come out this week. Behind the scenes, it still has the Zine Quest tag that they gave it back when I created the page. I have no idea if it goes live, it'll still have that. I'm fingers crossed, because that will be hilarious. But I just created the cover artwork for. Oh, and it's on that. You can see a bit of it over on the apron. So. It's a silly wizard with an apron and a cauldron and flying pies and desserts, and he's got a big oven mitt and holding a spoon. And that wall behind him is absolutely a nod to my favorite comic, my favorite RPG book cover, and maybe yours, Unearthed Arcana.
I've got to get that framed. I got that printed.
That blue window with the lattice and the red bricks, absolutely a nod to Mr. Easley. So I'm very happy with that cover. I haven't done a bright red one for the hardcovers yet, so that's exciting. But if folks go to nibblemancy.com, they can check it out there. Look at all these folks following us.
Welcome. What else do we got to talk about? We're got about 10 minutes left.
This nice person is following us. They're offering us promotion help.
Oh, that is great.
Wow.
They'll get us more channel viewers. That's exactly what we were trying to get, because I was tired of screaming out in the void.
Just waiting for this person. That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about little catacombs and comedians.
Please.
If you're going to Gen Con, remember we do have a show where I've got 4 comics. We'll be playing Dungeons and Dragons. I will be DMing at the Helium Comedy Club just down the street from the convention center the Gen Con Eve, July 31st, that Wednesday night. So hopefully if you're there, you'll come. I don't know how ticket sales are going, but hopefully they're going well. I got to talk to all my comics and get them promoting more, and get that game ready to go. But yeah, that'll be at Gen Con at Helium Comedy Club in Indianapolis. The last time we talked, I didn't have a date set for the new lab at Zany's after the owner told me I wasn't funny. But I do have a date. It's June 9th. So if you're in Nashville, come see me. Actually, somebody else will be dungeon mastering. I will be a player. And come see the stand-up comics. I'm the only one who's not an official stand-up comic, but everybody else is a stand-up comic. I'm just a not funny D&D guy. And I'll be on stage, and we hope to sell this out because it's a smaller venue, and we want to become residencies at this club.
I'm glad you put up with that. I'm glad you did. I can imagine a lot of people would have been like, all right, I'm out. Taking my ball and going home.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're because honestly, again, I still think that the idea is that Matt Mercer's not the funny one. You know, they create the environment. They're funny, but they don't do that on the stage. That's not really their place. Their place is to serve up, to pitch slow pitches so that the others can knock it out of the park.
And the show will, I will probably end up being dungeon master again down the road. But I'm excited about this. The guy who's the DM is Kevin Eggleston, and he DMs another D&D type live comedy shows with comics called Monster. And so he will be the DM for my show as well. And he'll be one of the players when I do the Helium show in Indianapolis.
Do you like will you be creating the adventure that he or as the player? Are you gonna have to be in the dark a bit?
I want to be in the dark a bit.
Okay.
I'm going to talk with him, and I'm going to suggest, okay, this is sort of what here's some elements that I want. Kevin, work with those.
Right. That's very similar to our friend Tommy Gofton, right? He's one of the co-creators, but he prefers to be playing a character, not behind the DM screen.
And I think this will give me an opportunity to do more for the show, because it's hard to run a show while you're also running it as a dungeon master. So if I'm a player, I might be able to, I'll be more relaxed because I don't have that DM. Oh, I gotta steer the ship throughout the whole thing.
Right.
I just got to do a funny, snarky comment every now and then that my character will say. And I'm just going to play a human fighter. I'm going to make the greatest human fighter. That's my goal. I've got a hilarious name for him already, but it's short and it's just Doug. But I'll explain that later when I introduce him down the road. But I'm looking forward to playing as a player, and I'm doing the same because we've been greenlit now for Gamehole Con. I will have 2 Catacombs and Creator shows. I've got the standard Dungeons and Dragons show, and you got to decide which show you want to be on. Do you want to be on the D&D show, or do you want to be on the Call of Cthulhu show?
Oh, dude, I'd love to be part of whatever. As long as I thought they were more primed, like they were more during the day, in which case I got to be at my table.
You could do the Cthulhu show. That's 8:00 at Saturday night.
Dude, I'd be honored. And
Skeeter Green is going to be the game master for that one, because I have no fucking idea how to play Call of Cthulhu.
Me neither. I know I get corruption if I do bad things, or if I do good things.
So we'll have Skeeter Green's going to do that show. And it's been kind of, I don't know, blessed is the right word. But Jeff Richards, who's one of the powers that be at Chaosism, is all for it. So he gave me the idea to do it, actually talking to him at GaryCon. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I'm hoping to be at Chaosism. And I hurry through that word because I never say it right.
Chaos.
Chaos.
They were right across from my table last year, and I'm just talking to the guy, like, oh yeah, like immediately we're talking about like spot varnish and stuff like that. And
you were probably talking to Jeff.
Yeah, and then I see his name tag, like, oh,
yeah.
He was like in the weeds of like, yeah, what is this 100-pound? Like he's immediately about the paper quality, and like we're nerding out about printing.
So I've got that going. So hopefully, maybe I'll be at the Chaosism con next year with Catacombs and Creators. I don't know, but we're definitely doing it Gary World, and maybe Gary World, Gamehole Con,
Molly World,
and it will be a show at Gary Con next year, I'm sure. And I've got 2 open spots for Catacombs and Creators, likely at Gen Con. So I haven't decided exactly what type of shows those will be yet.
Is it tougher to get people because it's such a madhouse?
I haven't even tried to get people yet.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it's not. I was thinking that like, oh, I have to be 5 blocks away at my booth at that time.
Because I don't even know when I'm scheduled yet.
Right.
You know, I put in when I would like to be. I think I got 4:00 in the afternoon on Friday and Saturday type of thing.
That's awesome.
Is what I pushed for. But like I've talked, like, you know, I said, Matt, do you want to be on? Matt, I think Matt's going to play at every Catacombs and Creators game I do from here on out.
So you have the fez. When do you get like a cape, like with a cowl and like?
I got to let Kevin wear the fez at the new show, at the
Dude,
show.
He's gonna stretch it.
Nobody stretches my head. Trust me, I've got the world's biggest head. It'll go over his eyes, if anything.
Just buckets like just fall over his head.
Yeah, he'll be Buckethead.
Gonna cut out eye holes in it.
I got to figure out my shtick as a player. So we'll see. But yeah, so Catacombs of Comedians is all over the place right now as far as shows go. 2 comedy club shows scheduled, possibly 4 convention shows currently on the schedule. No, I got GaryCon. Yeah, 2 at GaryCon, 2 at Gen Con, hopefully. And we're still, you know, trying to get the podcast all up and together and running. And I want to get a regular stream going with creators. So
2 at GaryCon, 2 at Gen Con. Wait, 2 at Gen Con, 2 at Gamehole Con. And then, yeah, that's great. And you had, that's great. I'm so proud of you, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's exhausting. And when things don't go right, like this week, like I said, the postpartum depression of, you know, throwing pirate towels out in the wild and working on promotion for these shows that nobody knows about. And it's just, oh, why am I doing this? That's
the thing. That I mean, we'll come back to where we started, because that's what we started with, talking about that postpartum. That why am I doing it thing is like, I don't know, that's huge, because there are so many people who we've turned the thing we love into a thing that can be judged by others in an era where it's hard to be in a period where it's hard to be
a millennium.
Yeah, right. In a time where it's hard to be seen.
In a world.
when we're fighting an algorithm, and people have been told for the last 15 years, got to be on social media, promote yourself. And by the time the social media algorithm's like, calm down, everybody. Twitter's a dumpster fire. Facebook is inundated. It's almost like the last bastion. It's like people, Blue Sky is, and these other places are, if you want to use this as a place to reach out beyond, that was really it. If social media is just about your own internal network, your friends, why are you selling to your friends? You want to sell outside to those people. And so the whole idea is, I feel like Reddit is still a place if you want to post share your stuff.
Reddit scares me. I got to get on. I got to figure out how.
Or you advertise. As soon as it's an ad, people are like, it's okay.
And I do advertise, not necessarily on Reddit, but I bought Facebook ads often.
How are the ads working for you?
They work. It all depends on what it is, really. And when I've had hit or miss.
Okay.
Like the 4D20 ads I put on Facebook got a lot of inquiries. I don't know how it turned into followers, but definitely I answered a lot of inquiries, What is this? And I would just say, it's a game. Go here to find out more. I mean, you could have clicked on the ad and it would have told you what it is.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's one thing I want to mention. There is a new, I backed the Good Omens thing that Colleen Duran was doing, the adaptation of the Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman book. It's a graphic novel. And they had their backer, essentially their backer kit thing came out. And I'm like, I clicked on it. I'm like, this isn't backer kit. It's something else. And it is by Kick Track. The people who made that tracking, they have one, pledgemanager.com.
Okay.
And they're doing Pledge Manager. And I'm sure the people over at Backer could like, ooh, that URL. They have a Pledge Manager, and it is streamlined and simple, and they charge a flat 25 cents per backer, no percentage of what you took. And one of their arguments was that you answered all those questions from your backers. We didn't do that. We shouldn't be getting a portion of that money, but we'll take for our costs, 25 cents plus a percentage of what you sell on their platform. And I like the checkout process. It was super simple. There was nothing sexy about the layout at all. It was just a picture description of add-ons and things like that. So worth trying. And with Nibblemancy, for the first time, I am going to charge for shipping after the fact. I don't know if that's going to be a huge mistake. It's going to make my total look a lot smaller because previously all my campaigns, the total included shipping.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That part will be a little bit, but who knows? If I get 500 backers, that's the dream.
And speaking of the projects, my enamel pin idea thing. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. Oops. Go over here. I'm looking for it real quick. All right. My backer kit campaign figured the enamel pins inspired by a tabletop role-playing game Dice called Dice Are My Vice. I had a number of pins available. My goal was $750. I hit $1,214. And 75 backers. And again, this was through Backer Kit's Pintopia 2024 campaign. And this is my test to see how well Backer Kit would work the way I want it for High Fantasy 4D20. So I will be building the survey pages this weekend, not today, maybe tomorrow for this pin thing and get that rolling. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how it worked out, and they gave me a lot of information. I have 75 back accounts. I have this individual campaign had 37 followers, only 8 of which backed.
8, so that's 20.
The conversion rate over every link that came here, and it shows me every single link. I had 1,938 people check it out, I think. Is that right? Yeah, visits.
How many people?
1,900.
Okay. So,
which isn't huge.
So 7%, but it's like 7% of those backed it, basically.
It tells me right here at a 3.93 conversion rate.
3.93. Oh, 75 backers. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this is information. I'm appreciate. Again, this project wasn't going to pay rent. This wasn't going to feed my child. This project was just to get a better feel of how
it succeeded. It was simple. It was like it hit its goal. That's super great. A lot of other projects I know that like they will struggle to climb over the finish line, but it seemed like this all of Pintopia succeeded with only a handful of exceptions, right?
Right. Yeah, it all did rather well. Some people made tens of thousands, but they were pin people. They've run pin things before. They're already in the community. They have followers. Right. Again, I was looking to get names on my mailing list for 4D20. So, love it. And I did it. But yeah, so that's one that finished on Thursday, and I don't need to worry about that anymore. Pins are already ordered. They're being manufactured. Hopefully I get the money from everybody, because again, surveys I won't get the money for another 2 weeks.
And they're backing it. Shipping is being charged separately.
Yes. So
there's in addition to that $1,200, there's all the shipping costs.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to charge like $5. I said it's going to be around $5. National, domestic.
That's great.
$10 international. And I've already stole shipping supplies from work, so that's another cost I saved on. So.
Well,
my supervisor, I said, we're going to be missing about 75 of these envelope pouches. And he's like, should I order you some more? Don't order me any. I'm just stealing them. You might want to order more for work, but I don't know.
Well, congratulations.
So there you go. So I think I covered everything on my list, more or less. There is one more thing I thought of today, but we're going to save it for next week, and I've already forgotten what it is. I wonder why.
Next Saturday, I am not available.
Okay, well, good. That saves me having to
For
worry
the
about
dumbest of reasons, I'll be at a karate tournament.
whatever. I want to see you and John Kovalik throw down
He'll kill me.
at Gamehole Con.
He'll kill me in cartooning, karate, everything.
All right, Steve. I hope you have a wonderful 420.
I would say don't do anything I wouldn't do, but I think you've already done a lot that I wouldn't do.
And everybody out there, please remember nibblemancy.com, remember 4d20system.com. Go check these out. We need your support so we can come back on here in Mazes and Muses and talk about this stuff with each other on our mostly weekly coffee clutch type thing we got going. Maybe we should have a guest in 2 weeks.
It'd be great.
Okay.
Who do you want to get?
I don't know.
We'll talk karate the whole time. We'll talk martial arts.
Yeah, and whatever.
We'll review Jeff Speakman, The Perfect Weapon.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wait, did you know the movie The Perfect Weapon starring Jeff Speakman?
No.
That was an 80s movie that, to me, I just remembered because the title is so dumb that I wanted to name one of my pets Jeff Speakman just because it's so dumb.
The 80s movie I remember like that is Jim Cotta.
There you go. Or how about, and there was Gun Kata from the was it Christian Bale? Was the Equilibrium movie? It's the martial art that has guns.
I don't remember that. I remember Jim Cotta where they had that gymnast from the Olympics.
Sure. And then the
Quite a
City
bunch
of
of
Rock.
ninjas.
Come on, dude. A golden age of cinema.
Hey, the 80s were the greatest decade of
They
movies.
were terrible.
No, but it's also the same decade that gave us Empire Strikes Back, that gave us Raiders of the Lost Ark, that gave us E.T., that gave us...
Yeah, that's like talking about mold and talking about, well, we got penicillin from it.
It gave us Ghostbusters, it gave us Gremlins, it gave us Star Trek 2.
Fine, you're
Gave us
correct.
The Road Warrior. I could go on.
Mm-hmm.
80s were the greatest decade for movies. It gave us Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I will come back with my list of greatest 10. My 80 greatest 80s movies.
Can I find a list of the 10 worst and we can compete? Is mine worse than your? Is the worst of my worst better than the best of your best?
And I got you beat. And we'll have a montage because all good thing 80s have montage.
We'll each reenact a scene.
Yeah, there you go. And we'll play Eye of the Tiger. Okay, that's enough rambling. Thanks, Steve, for joining me again.
You're a delight.
Coffee this morning. It was a good talk. Thanks for talking me off the ledge.
This week, we have like deities and interventions.
Everybody else out there, thanks for tuning in, and we appreciate you. And may all of you make all of your saving progress.